The greatest enemy of your future is not your past mistakes. It's your attachment to who you used to be. You cannot step into tomorrow while holding the hand of yesterday. Some of you are asking God for a new life, but you're still married to your old identity. Today, I came to tell you, it's time to let go. You're not who you were last year, last month, or even last night. You are a becoming being designed to grow, evolve, and transform. If you refuse to let go of who you were, you'll suffocate the person you're meant to become. Every promotion requires a separation. Every elevation demands a release. And every destiny requires a new identity. This is a principle of life, success, and divine purpose. Every single one of us carries around an image of who we think we are. It's a mental photograph made up of our past experiences, our mistakes, our successes, the names people called us, the titles we wore, and the roles we played. But just because you've been living inside that photograph doesn't mean it defines your destiny. Imagine a phone that hasn't been updated in years. It freezes, it lags, it can't handle the new apps. Why? Because it's still running on an old system. Many of us are trying to run the newest version of our lives on an outdated operating system of identity. You're asking for new opportunities while still clinging to old patterns. You're praying for a bigger platform while still thinking like the person who was rejected 5 years ago. Life won't upgrade until you do. Letting go of an old identity feels like losing part of yourself. It feels risky, even scary, because you've worn that identity like a comfortable jacket. But that jacket is now too small for where you're going. Think about a child's shoes. At some point, no matter how much you love them, you outgrow them. They squeeze your toes, they hurt your feet, and you can't run as fast. In the same way, your old self can't fit the life you're praying for. You have to take off what no longer fits. That means walking away from certain habits, certain thought patterns, even certain relationships that reinforce the old version of you. Daily life is filled with examples of this principle. A student who was always told they were average may need to let go of that identity to excel in college. An employee who's been overlooked for years may need to see themselves as a leader before anyone else does. A person who grew up in scarcity may need to release the identity of "I'm broke" to step into the mindset of abundance. These shifts are not about arrogance, they're about alignment. You cannot manifest a new reality while holding on to the old label. When you release an old identity, you liberate your energy. Think about carrying a heavy backpack filled with bricks. Those bricks are regrets, shame, titles that no longer serve you, old ways of thinking. The moment you take the backpack off, you stand taller, you breathe easier, you can walk faster. The same is true emotionally and spiritually. Stop carrying weight that belongs to your past. Stop introducing yourself to new opportunities with an old resume of pain. Every time you say, "This is just who I am," ask yourself, is this who I've been, or is this who I'm becoming? In your daily life, practice small acts of release. It could be as simple as changing the way you speak about yourself. Replace "I've always been shy" with "I'm learning to speak up." Replace "I'm bad with money" with "I'm developing wealth wisdom." These are not empty affirmations. They're declarations of your new identity. You can't speak the language of your past and expect the future to respond. Life listens to your vocabulary. Life responds to your self-definition. One of the most powerful things you can do is look in the mirror every morning and call yourself by your future. Speak to yourself as the person you're becoming, not the person you've been. Imagine a caterpillar calling itself a butterfly long before the wings appear. That's faith in action. That's identity before manifestation. When you walk into a room with that energy, people respond differently. Opportunities open up. Even your posture and tone of voice shift. Releasing an old identity also means forgiving yourself for who you used to be. Forgiveness is not just for others, it's for you. Many people stay stuck because they punish themselves with memories of past mistakes. They rehearse old failures until those failures become their identity. But you're not your worst day. You're not your biggest mistake. You're not your childhood trauma. Those are chapters, not your entire book. If you don't forgive yourself, you'll keep returning to the same old chapter, and the story of your life will never move forward. Sometimes letting go of the old identity will cost you certain friendships. The people who loved to hold you may not understand the new you. They might say, "You've changed," as if that's a bad thing. Smile and say, "Yes, I have." A plant doesn't apologize for growing toward the light. A river doesn't apologize for carving a new path. Growth demands change, and change demands courage. You can't take everyone with you on your journey, and that's okay. When you start releasing your old identity, expect resistance from your own mind. Your brain loves patterns, even destructive ones, because they're familiar. Familiar feels safe. But familiar isn't always healthy. That's why you must deliberately disrupt your patterns. Take a different route to work. Change the way you dress. Speak to new people. Read books you wouldn't normally read. Each act of disruption weakens the grip of the old self and strengthens the muscles of the new self. Think of someone who's been working at a job for years, always in the background, always the assistant. One day, they start dressing like the boss. They start thinking like a leader. They start taking initiative. Before long, opportunities arise that match their new mindset. The promotion didn't create the new identity. The new identity attracted the promotion. This is how life works. You become it before you see it. You identify with it before you walk in it. You were not born to remain static. You were born to evolve. That's why frustration exists. It's the pressure of the future trying to break out of the shell of the present. The sooner you release the shell, the sooner the future emerges. This is not theory. It's a principle woven into nature. Seeds break open before they grow. Skin sheds before new layers form. Old leaves fall so new buds can bloom. Everything in creation models release before increase. In your own life, take a moment to identify what no longer belongs. Ask yourself, what habits, thoughts, or identities are too small for where I'm going? What labels am I still wearing because someone else gave them to me? What stories am I still telling about myself that keep me trapped? This self-inventory will reveal the very things you must let go of. And when you start releasing them, you'll feel lighter, freer, and more aligned with the person you're destined to become. Every transition in life is a bridge between who you were and who you're becoming, and the bridge is never comfortable. It shakes, it sways, it makes you question whether you're going to make it across. But without the bridge, there is no way to reach the next land. Too many people cling to the safety of the familiar shore, wishing for change while refusing to step onto the bridge. Transition is not punishment, it's proof that growth is happening. Think of a seed planted in the ground. Before it can sprout, it must split, crack, and break open. The breaking feels like death to the seed, but it's actually the beginning of its life. In the same way, the moments where you feel like everything is cracking, shifting, or falling apart are often the very moments you're being prepared for a bigger life. When you understand the law of transition, you stop fighting it. You stop calling it a crisis and start calling it a classroom. You stop saying, "Why is this happening to me?" and start saying, "What is this preparing me for?" This change of perspective transforms frustration into fuel. Look at a butterfly. It doesn't go from caterpillar to flying creature in one step. It goes into a cocoon, dark, tight, and isolated. It dissolves its old self completely before it can emerge with wings. That middle place is messy, but it's necessary. Without the cocoon, there's no flight. Without the in-between, there's no breakthrough. Daily life is full of smaller versions of this process. The college student leaving home for the first time, the employee stepping into leadership, the couple moving from dating to marriage, the parent watching their child grow into independence. Each stage feels awkward at first because it's unfamiliar. It's easy to want to run back to the old stage because it feels comfortable. But comfort zones are graveyards for potential. You can't discover new oceans while keeping one foot on the dock. During transition, your environment may not affirm you. The people around you may not recognize your growth. They're used to the old you. They might question your choices, criticize your risks, or try to pull you back to familiar ground. This is why understanding the law of transition is vital. It tells you that discomfort and misunderstanding are not signs you're failing. They're signs you're moving. When a rocket breaks through the atmosphere, it experiences the most resistance at the point of exit. In your life, the point where everything feels most intense is often the point where you're closest to breaking into the next dimension of your calling. Transition demands that you release your grip on old tools. A student can't bring high school study habits into medical school. An athlete can't train like a beginner if they want to be a champion. A leader can't think like an employee and run a company at the same time. The habits and attitudes that got you to this level are too small to take you to the next one. You must upgrade your disciplines, your mindset, and your self-concept. This is not betrayal of your past. It's stewardship of your future. Think about when someone is learning to drive a car with a manual transmission. At first, shifting gears feels jerky, awkward, and frustrating. You stall. You grind the gears, you panic. But after practice, you find the rhythm. Transition in life works the same way. At first, you'll feel uncoordinated, unsure, maybe even clumsy. But as you keep moving forward, you'll find your rhythm in the new level. You'll discover that what once felt foreign becomes your new normal. Understanding the law of transition also means preparing for moments of solitude. When you're in the middle of change, not everyone can go with you. It's like a rocket jettisoning its booster stages. Those boosters were necessary to get off the ground, but they're not designed for orbit. Some relationships, routines, and even environments were essential in your past stage, but can't survive your future altitude. If you cling to them, they'll pull you down. If you release them, you'll rise. Another daily example of this is in fitness. Someone who's been walking for exercise decides to run their first 5K. The first few weeks are painful. Muscles ache. Breathing is harder. Friends may say, "Why are you pushing yourself so much?" But if the person sticks with it, their lungs get stronger, their stride improves, and they become a runner. The pain of transition becomes the power of transformation. This same principle applies to your career, your relationships, your finances, and your spiritual growth. In transition, you also meet a new version of yourself. You find strength you didn't know you had. You develop patience, resilience, and creativity you didn't think existed. That's the hidden gift of the law of transition. It introduces you to the upgraded model of you. The struggle becomes the sculptor shaping your character. The pressure becomes the forge creating your new identity. Without transition, you'd stay soft and untested, never discovering your true capacity. When you're tempted to quit in the middle of change, Remember childbirth. The moment of greatest pain is the moment closest to delivery. If you stop pushing, you prolong the process. If you keep breathing and keep pushing, what's inside of you will emerge. This is how your dreams, your goals, and your destiny come forth. Transition is labor. Labor brings life. You can even see this principle in nature's seasons. Winter feels barren and lifeless, but underground the soil is replenishing, the seeds are germinating, and life is being prepared for spring. The stillness of winter is part of the cycle of abundance. Your winter seasons are not the end, they're the incubation of your next level. If you understand that, you'll stop panicking when things look dormant. You'll start preparing, planning, and positioning yourself for the bloom that's coming. The law of transition is not selective. It applies to everyone. Rich or poor, young or old, every person is called to evolve. Those who fight it stay trapped in patterns. Those who embrace it break through limitations. When you recognize that discomfort, isolation, and challenge are not punishments but portals, you walk differently. You think differently. You respond to life with courage instead of fear. You stop asking, how do I get out of this? And start asking, what will I become through this? In your everyday decisions, start practicing the mindset of transition. Wake up and do something small that your future self would do. Dress like your next level. Speak like your next level. Read like your next level. Surround yourself with people who stretch you instead of shrink you. Each choice is a signal to life that you're ready for the next chapter. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to keep stepping onto the bridge, one plank at a time, trusting that it's carrying you from who you were to who you're destined to be. Every day you wake up, your mind wakes up too, and it immediately starts playing the programs you installed yesterday. Those programs are your beliefs, your thoughts, your self-talk, and your expectations. If those programs are outdated, you'll keep repeating the same life over and over, even when you're begging for change. This is why renewing your mindset daily is not a luxury, it's survival. You cannot drive into a new city with an old map and expect to arrive at the right destination. You cannot step into a new season of your life with the same thinking that built your last one. A changed life begins with a changed mind, and a changed mind begins with daily renewal. Think about how you brush your teeth every morning. You don't wait until they're rotten before you clean them. You don't brush once and think you're set for life. In the same way, you must clean your mind daily. Negative thoughts accumulate like plaque. Old doubts, fears, and limiting beliefs creep back in like bacteria. If you don't consciously cleanse them, they harden into your mindset and begin to shape your reality. Daily renewal scrubs away the build-up of yesterday's thinking so you can think clearly today. In your daily life, examples of the power of mindset are everywhere. Look at two people working the same job under the same boss. One feels trapped, bitter, and unseen. The other feels challenged, excited, and grateful. What's the difference? Mindset. Look at two athletes training for the same race. One says, "This is too hard, I'll never make it." The other says, "This is tough, but I'm getting stronger." Same circumstances, two entirely different outcomes. Mindset is the lens through which you see life. And if the lens is dirty, everything looks distorted. Renewing your mind also means challenging the stories you tell yourself. So many of the things you believe about yourself are just narratives you repeated until they became truth. I'm not good with money. I always mess up relationships. I'll never be a leader. These are not facts, they're scripts. Scripts can be rewritten. Every morning you have an opportunity to pick up a new script and rehearse it until it becomes your reality. This is not about faking it. It's about choosing which voice you allow to define you. Think of a computer. When malware infiltrates, it slows everything down, corrupts files and hijacks processes. Negative thinking does the same thing to your brain. The only way to keep your system clean is to run daily scans, delete the viruses, and install updates. Meditation, prayer, reading empowering books, listening to uplifting messages, practicing gratitude. These are your daily antivirus programs. They renew your mental software so you can run at full speed. Another daily life example is physical training. A bodybuilder can't lift weights once a week and expect results. Consistency is the magic. The mind is a muscle too. Reading one inspiring quote on Monday won't change you. But feeding your mind positive, expansive, challenging material every day will rewire your brain over time. Neuroscience proves that repeated thought patterns create new neural pathways. You're literally sculpting your brain with every thought you repeat. Renewal also requires you to watch your environment. Your mindset is shaped not just by what you think, but by what you're exposed to. If you wake up and scroll through negativity, gossip, and fear, you've already programmed your day for defeat. But if you start your morning with gratitude, affirmations, movement, and learning, you've set the tone for victory. You are the gatekeeper of your mind, and every day the gate opens. Decide who and what gets to come in. One of the simplest yet most powerful practices is to speak your future self into existence each morning. Look yourself in the mirror and declare, I am disciplined, I am focused, I am favored, I am healthy, I am wealthy, I am a leader. Even if your life doesn't look like that yet, you're planting seeds in your subconscious. The mind doesn't distinguish between imagination and reality. It responds to repetition. Over time, your actions align with your declarations, and your life begins to match your words. Renewing your mind also means learning to reframe challenges. Instead of saying, "This is happening to me," you start saying, "This is happening for me." Instead of saying, "I failed," you say, "I learned." This shift sounds small, but it's monumental. It takes you out of victim mode and places you in creator mode. Creators don't see obstacles. They see raw material for growth. When you think like that, setbacks lose their power to paralyze you. They become setups for your next breakthrough. Pay attention to your inner circle. The people you spend time with are mirrors. If you're always surrounded by complainers, you'll unconsciously absorb their mindset. If you're surrounded by builders, dreamers, and doers, your thinking will stretch. A renewed mind craves environments that challenge it, conversations that lift it, and mentors who expand it. Be deliberate about your social diet, the way you're deliberate about your food diet. Another powerful illustration of renewing your mind is language. The words you use shape your mental universe. Stop calling things hard and start calling them training. Stop saying, "I'm busy," and start saying, "I'm productive." Stop saying, "I have to," and start saying, "I get to." These small swaps are mental renovations. They may seem insignificant, but they carve new grooves of thought. Over time, those grooves become highways your mind travels automatically. There's a reason successful people guard their mornings so fiercely. They know the first minutes of the day are the steering wheel of their mindset. Before checking messages, before diving into work, they center themselves, they visualize their goals, they repeat affirmations, they practice gratitude, they move their body. This is not ritual for ritual's sake. It's wiring their brain for the future they want. You can do the same. In the middle of your day, check in with your thoughts. Ask yourself, what am I rehearsing in my mind right now? Am I replaying fears or rehearsing victories? Am I focusing on problems or solutions? Redirect your thinking like a driver correcting a drifting car. The more you practice this, the faster your corrections become and the straighter your life drives. The beauty of renewing your mindset daily is that it compounds. Small adjustments, repeated over time, create massive shifts, like drops of water wearing away rock. Your daily mental habits carve out a new identity and a new reality. Every morning is a chance to install an upgrade. Every thought is a brush stroke on the canvas of your future. Every word is a seed in the soil of your destiny. When you begin to treat your mind as sacred ground, you'll start planting what you want to harvest, and your life will start reflecting the power of that daily renewal. There comes a moment when the preparation is over, the waiting is done, and the door stands open in front of you. That moment is not for more hesitation, it is for boldness. Walking boldly into your assignment is the point where belief becomes action. You have prayed, planned, cried, dreamed, and envisioned. Now you must step. Boldness does not mean the absence of fear. It means moving forward while fear trembles in the back seat. Every person you admire, every leader you respect, every success story you quote reached a point where they had to cross the invisible line between preparation and performance. They didn't feel ready. They decided to go anyway. Boldness is the catalyst that turns potential into power. Think about someone learning to swim. They can read books about swimming, watch videos, and stand by the pool practicing their arm strokes. But they will never swim until they put their body in the water. The first moment they do, their heart races, their breath shortens, and their instincts tell them to retreat. But if they stay in, if they trust their training, the movements kick in, and suddenly they're swimming. Life works the same way. You cannot wait until you feel no fear to jump. You must jump and trust that what you've learned will carry you. In your daily life, you've already had experiences like this. Remember your first day at a new school or job. You didn't know where to sit, what to say, or how to fit in. But you showed up anyway. Over time, the unknown became familiar. The environment adjusted to your presence. That's what happens when you walk boldly into your assignment. You enter spaces that feel bigger than you and watch them shrink to your size as you grow. Boldness also means no longer apologizing for your evolution. When you begin to live out your calling, some people will say you're arrogant or too much. They'll want you to stay in the box where they first met you. You can honor where you came from without shrinking back into it. A light bulb does not apologize for shining brighter just because it's in a room full of candles. The purpose of light is to illuminate, not to fit in. When you step into your assignment, you're giving permission to others to do the same. Another example, an artist who's painted privately for years finally decides to showcase their work publicly. Fear says, "What if no one likes it?" Boldness says, "What if someone needs it?" The difference between the two is world-changing. The first hides talent in a closet. The second releases talent into the world where it can transform lives. Your assignment isn't just about you. It's about the people waiting for what only you can bring. Walking boldly also means taking actions that match your future self. If you see yourself as a leader, start thinking, dressing, speaking, and making decisions like one today. If you see yourself as a business owner, begin structuring your time, energy, and resources as if the business already exists. This is not pretending, it's aligning. When your inner reality matches your outer actions, the world begins to respond accordingly. You'll need courage because boldness will often separate you from the crowd. It's easier to hide in the comfort of mediocrity than to stand alone in the discomfort of greatness. But everything you admire, every book you've loved, every invention you use, Every speech that's changed your life was created by someone who refused to blend in. They walked into their assignment even when no one was clapping, even when people doubted them, even when failure looked inevitable. Boldness is lonely at first, but magnetic over time. In your daily routine, start practicing small acts of boldness. Speak up in the meeting where you'd normally stay silent. Introduce yourself to someone you admire instead of waiting to be noticed. Share your ideas publicly, even if they're not perfect. Launch the project even if it's not fully polished. Each small act trains your nervous system to handle larger acts. Courage is a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it grows. Think of a runner at the start line of a race. Their heart pounds, their palms sweat, but when the gun fires, they explode out of the blocks. If they hesitate even for a second, they lose momentum. Your assignment is the same. When the opportunity presents itself, move. Momentum creates clarity. Movement reveals the path. You don't have to know every step. You just have to take the next one boldly. Walking boldly also means redefining failure. Failure is not a verdict, it's a teacher. Bold people see failure as feedback, not finality. They understand that every misstep sharpens their skills and clarifies their vision. When you adopt this mindset, the fear of failing loses its grip and the power to act returns. The person who dares and stumbles grows faster than the one who waits for perfect conditions and never begins. Another daily illustration is learning to ride a bike. You don't wait until you're sure you won't fall. You get on, you wobble. You scrape your knees, but eventually you balance. Once you feel that balance, you never forget it. Walking into your assignment works the same way. You step out, you wobble, you adjust, and suddenly you're moving with confidence. The experience of motion teaches you what the theory never could. Boldness also means speaking with authority about your vision. When you talk about your dreams, speak as if they're real. Use language that reflects ownership, not wishful thinking. Say, I am building, instead of, I hope to build. Say, I am creating, instead of, maybe one day. This subtle shift commands your subconscious mind to act and invites the world to take you seriously. Finally, remember that walking boldly into your assignment is a gift to others. Someone is waiting for your courage to unlock their own. A student is waiting for your book. A community is waiting for your leadership. A friend is waiting for your story to inspire their healing. When you shrink back, the world misses out. When you step forward, you activate a chain reaction of transformation beyond anything you can imagine. When everything is said and done, there comes a moment when the world grows silent, and all that remains is the sound of your own heart telling you it's time. This is the moment legends are born. This is the moment when ordinary people do extraordinary things, not because they had all the answers, but because they dared to act, dared to step, dared to believe. You have heard the call in your own life. That whisper that says you are more than your mistakes, bigger than your fears, stronger than your doubts. That whisper is not a fantasy. It is your future trying to get your attention. You don't have to wait for perfect conditions. You don't have to wait for everyone to agree. You don't have to wait for permission. Greatness never waits, greatness moves. Think of every mountain you've ever seen. It did not ask to be recognized as a mountain. It simply rose. Think of every star you've ever admired in the night sky. It did not ask for applause. It simply burned. You are no different. Stop asking for validation from people who can't see your vision. Stop shrinking yourself to fit the comfort zones of others. You were not designed to blend into the background. You were designed to stand out. The sky does not apologize for being vast, and you do not need to apologize for being powerful. Every hero, Every innovator, every leader who has ever changed history faced a moment of decision. Stay in the safety of the familiar or step into the unknown. They chose the unknown, and history remembers them for it. The same fire burns in you. You don't need a title to be significant. You don't need a stage to be influential. You only need the courage to rise where you are. Say to yourself right now, I am not my past. I am not my pain. I am not my limitations. I am my possibilities. I am my purpose. I am my future. You may have been told you are too late, too unqualified, too broken, too far gone. Those are lies. The graveyards are full of people who believed those lies and took their dreams with them. Do not add your name to that list. When you leave this world, let it be empty of your potential. Let the soil take your body, but never your dreams. You have a responsibility to become everything you were created to be. You have a duty to the future to give it the best version of yourself. There will be nights of doubt and days of pain. There will be seasons where it feels like no one sees your effort. But remember this, diamonds are formed under pressure, and eagles learn to fly by facing the wind. You are not being punished, you are being prepared. You are not being buried. You are being planted. Every tear you've cried is watering the seeds of your tomorrow. Every closed door is redirecting you to the right one. Every setback is a setup for your comeback. Stand up in the middle of your life and declare with authority, this is my time. This is my season. This is my moment. Speak it until it echoes in your bones. Walk into rooms as if you belong there, because you do. Walk into opportunities as if you've been sent there, because you have. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Take the moment and make it perfect. Bold moves create big waves, and big waves change the landscape forever. Somebody, somewhere is watching you right now, looking for proof that it can be done. They're waiting for your courage to spark theirs. They're waiting for your breakthrough to give them permission to believe. Don't let them down. Don't let yourself down. Don't let destiny down. Stand tall, breathe deep, square your shoulders, and walk forward as if the ground beneath you has been waiting for your footsteps all along. Say to yourself every day, I am the architect of my life. I am the author of my story. I am the storm that breaks the chains. I am the light in dark places. I am the proof that nothing is impossible, because the truth is, you are. The power to change your life is not in the hands of your past, your critics, or your circumstances. It is in your decision to move. Not next week, not next year now. In this moment, this is the hour when you let go of who you were and become who you were meant to be. This is the hour you stop talking about the mountain and start climbing it. This is the hour you stop waiting for wings and start leaping so the wind can catch you. This is the hour when your future begins.